Hi, Dr. Jim Ewing here. This is your number one source for learning the latest on how to teach English language learners, I like the term multilingual learners, in all subjects including math. This is the third in a series of 5 titled Paths. The P in the first video stands for positioning, how important it is for us to position our multilingual learners to be successful. And the A, the second video, stands for access, how we can provide our students with access so they can solve the math. Today, this is the third video, and the T stands for teach, as in teach English. Yes, in math class. How can we teach our students academic language in math class at the same time as teaching math concepts? So stay tuned so you can learn the latest. Well, perhaps one of the easiest things we can do is just speak less. Sure. In other words, let's ask more questions rather than telling. For example, think back when I talked to you in the first video, when I talked to you in Spanish. If I were to just speak to you for, a long time, after a while, you would tune out. On the other hand, if we put students in small groups and give them opportunities to speak, then they're developing language. By language, I'm referring to academic English language, academic math language, and even academic language, and their first language as well. We want to develop all of their language. And so, yes, students need opportunities to listen, but I feel like they have too many opportunities. And so students need to listen, speak, and of course, read and write. And so the first tip is just talk a little bit less and give students opportunities to speak. Now I've got a question for you. What is a common practice that is not good for developing MLL's language, multilingual learners' language? A, is it A, calling on students randomly during whole group discussions? Is that a good practice? Or B, asking students to raise their hands when they know the answers? Or C, giving students speed tests to learn their multiplication tables? Stop the video and pretend like you're in the classroom and answer that question. Is it A, B, or C? Well, did you stop the video? It's actually a trick question. These 3 are all common practices, and none of them are good for developing language. Let's look at A. Well, A is not effective because we want to decrease our students' stress level. Krashen says that. Stephen Krashen says that. But if we're calling on students randomly, it's going to increase our students' stress level because our students, we have to be careful with stereotypes, of course, but our students might be worried about what others are going to do and whether they'll laugh at them for not knowing English. And so let's be really careful with A. We'll get to B. We're going to do a little simulation for B. And C, we don't want our students to work fast in math. Good mathematicians are not quick. On the contrary, we want our students to be meticulous and to persevere. And so anytime you see, these speed tests, they just create the stress again. And sometimes our multilingual learners are going to have to translate things, and that's going to take more time, so it's not equitable for them. But now let's talk about B. Well, rather than me just telling you this, let me give you an opportunity to experience it. So pretend like you're in the classroom and raise your hand when you know the answer. I'm going to provide you access because I'll speak to you in English a little bit and then give you some words in Spanish. Not too much. Don't leave. So here's the question. What is, and raise your hand when you know the answer, what is 5 más 8? If you need more time, you can stop the video. But if you were thinking in Spanish, then you could answer this already. But I've worked with teachers at workshops, and they'll say, well, this is, Jim, this was my thought process. So I knew that 5 was 5, I knew 8 was 8, but I got a little bit stumped on más. Más means more, so why is Jim asking 5 more 8? Well, maybe that's addition because more means bigger. So it's either addition or multiplication. I'm going to go with addition. And then I finally do the math. 5 plus 8 is 13. And then I start to raise my hand. I say, oh, wait a minute, I have to say it in Spanish. How do you say 13 in Spanish? 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is the answer. Now think about all those steps you had to go through if you weren't fluent in Spanish. And you had a little bit of doubt because you weren't sure what más meant. Would you really raise your hand and take a chance and share? When other people are just thinking, well, cinco más ocho son 13, and they know the answer right away. And so we have to question all of our practices, like raise your hand when you know the answer. So if we're not doing that, instead we can say, turn and talk to a partner or work with a group. And that lowers the stress. And then we can ask more open problems and not put so much stress on our students. But it gets better. So after we ask our students to work in pairs, this is what we can do to position our students even more. We go over and listen, and then we'll say, hey, Juan Jose, I really like what you said. Would you like to share that to the class? Think about how different that is. See, rather than just saying, Juan Jose, what's cinco más ocho, right? Or what's 5 plus 8, right? That is going to increase his stress. But by giving him a chance to, first of all, figure it out on his own with a partner and discuss and get validated with the partner that he has the correct answer or something useful to say. And then I can listen in and say, you know, Juan Jose, I love what you said. Would you like to share it to class? It's an invitation. It's not forcing Juan Jose to say the answer. It's an invitation. And if he says no, that's fine. Tomorrow I can ask him the same question, and the next day. And sooner or later, Juan Jose will develop his English, his academic English, and his confidence by sharing with the whole group. But I can also say, how about you and your partner? Do you two want to share? Or I can even revoice Juan Jose. Because when I revoice Juan Jose, I'm positioning him as a mathematician. Like Juan Jose says that cinco más ocho is 13. Turn and talk to your neighbor class about Juan Jose's mathematical thinking. And so those are ways to develop our students' English. So in summary, we want our multilingual learners to develop their language, their math language, their English academic language, and the first language. And so in order to do that, we need to do a little bit less talking and give them more opportunities to speak. And let's question our practices, like raise your hand when you know the answers, because it's a very common practice that might not be equitable for our students. So thank you and good luck with this. And stay tuned. In our next video, we're going to talk about Hattie. Yes, John Hattie, or using research-based strategies. Have a great day. Hasta luego.